テレ東ビズ。
Переживаем, все переживаем, но никакой там негативной информации в сторону нас нету, русскоговорящих. Но, естественно, как и все, переживаем за все то, что происходит на Украине.
I don't know, we're waiting for it so long, but still, at this moment, I don't think we will join NATO or European Union at this moment because we are not in this condition. Our politics and economics, and yes, I don't know. But we wish, of course, it's our wish, and we want to join it, and we want better future, of course, for us, European future, and we hope that we will join someday.
Из Санкт-Петербурга уехал, потому что не нравится политическая ситуация в стране. Мне не нравится, что Россия делает по отношению к другим странам, как она себя ведет, и это уже переходит все рамки, и надо что-то делать и покидать эту страну. Это единственный выход.
Yes, sure. They should have 3 months living here and not more, as other people. Why do they are privileged and with according to other people? I don't know.
こちら首都トビリシから1時間ほど来たグランピングの施設がある場所です。これを運営している会社なのですが、会社としてロシアからジョージアへの移転を進めているということです。
Например, у нас очень много клиентов с Европы, и физически сейчас из-за санкций просто невозможно даже с ними работать, они даже отказываются работать. То есть у нас партнер в Португалии, который сказал с Россией. Не-не-не. Это такая катастрофа на самом деле. Да, потому что сильные мозги теряются, да, воспитывать новые не успевают.
Model to device like this, and after that I can read debug information for developers. I just work normal mode, so my productivity not decreased here because I can work fully remotely. This is very bad internet, so when I'm in Russia, I need pay additional money if I'm from Russia. So and I'm really afraid that some people don't like me only because I'm from Russia. And I also don't want to stay in Russia because this is uncomfortable now living in Russia. So I want found home in any country. Yes, not Russia.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Wataru. He's Taku.
I was a political activist years before the war. For years I was trying to fight Putin's regime by doing some journalist work, by going out to the rallies, opposition, any kind of activities. I was protesting, I was publicly expressing my opinion, I was working for the Navalny team, the main Russian oppositioner, and the political repressions increased dramatically during the war, and I knew it was going to happen if the war actually starts. Right now there's simply no way that protests can change something. The only thing we can do something is to raise public awareness about what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Russia. I will never go back to Putin's Russia. Of course, if the regime falls, but it should not be just the death of Putin, it should be the death of his regime. Of course, I want to go back to Russia, I want to live in Russia, it's my country.
Can I come in? Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We had more than 300 people, and it's like it says website of TV Rain was blocked in Russian Federation. So there is nothing here, and that's why we cannot show our videos right now, but we will.
独立系のレイ PD というエリアが入っていたんですが、もう閉まってます。ちょっと中見てください。
Голосование стало ясно далеко не на всех избирательных участках.
Я сразу позвонила оператору, попросила его приехать. К сожалению, он не может приехать в телеквартиру.
We left first of all because our TV channel was blocked in Russia, and we already were foreign agents, so-called foreign agents, and we couldn't say this word war on our lives. We had to say like special operation, and we didn't want to say it because this is a real war. And a lot of people were killed, just regular people in Ukraine. And then when they blocked us, we decided to go to like other country. We didn't have some plans to live in Georgia or something, and it was just you don't need a visa. I think that unfortunately independent media, every independent media in Russia was killed by Russian government, and there is no independent media anymore. My report about Mariupol, but it's already a TV channel of our two TV hosts, Masha Borzunova and Vova Rominsky. Yeah. This is what we make right now, some independent YouTube channels. But I hope we will back.
Ну, мы все выбежали в коридор и держали двери, чтобы они не вылетели.
all these people left Mariupol when it was blocked by Russian army?
Его нет, ну то есть города нету. Это пустой город.
Yeah, and they say that there is no city anymore. The city was in ruin. Yeah, this is good that I can work here as a journalist, like as an independent journalist, and to speak with all these people, because in Russia it's impossible. People need more information about what is happening right now, and a lot of people from Russia who are against the war, they write to us all the time, like, guys, I cannot speak with somebody in Russia about it because I'm scared. But when I see your streams on your YouTube channels, I feel like I am not alone, like I have friends who also are against the war.
Well, now I'll do it. So.
So what we are doing now we're gonna watch a documentary that I think is possible. We can see how the story is repeated from year by year, and it's exactly the same feeling that.
Собрались 16 человек, участников боевых действий в Чехословакии. Лев Николаевич, мы хотим вам...
Воины социалистических государств вступили в Чехословакию не как оккупанты, а как братья по оружию. Они пришли, чтобы вместе с трудящимися Чехословакии дать отпор контрреволюционерам, отстоять дело социализма и устранить угрозу суверенитету, независимости и безопасности Чехословакии и всего социалистического содружества.
А как вы тогда разбирались в ситуации?
Никак. Мы не разбираем.
Ой, дорогая, вот мы все трое, слушай, все одинаковые. Никто не разбирался.
Нам не до этого было.
Нами
мы выполняли приказ.
Приказ выполняли. Вот, это самое...
Старались его выполнить без кровопролития. Вот и все. Обстановка в Чехословакии и ее столице Праге в целом нормальная. Приход войск братских социалистических стран лишил чехословацкую контрреволюцию.
Вот у меня на сердце всегда жгет одни слова. Лейтенант, ты знаешь, я очень благодарен русскому народу, что он меня освободил из концлагеря. Но мне очень обидно, что вы к нам пришли незваные.
I was surprised to see that they call special operation, like now.
Russia always make the same, and we made every time we made the same mistakes.
Вот эти вот истории людей, которые, скажем так, не по своей воле, наверное, оказались агрессорами, они будут, конечно, коррелировать между тем, чьи сейчас чьи сейчас мужья и сыновья воюют в Украине.
Yeah, it was hard to manage. So first I arrived to Odessa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, if I will go back to Russia, I might be sentenced for 20 years for what I'm doing. But what Russia is doing now, it's too much. It's too much. It's just, it's above the red lines. For me, it was really dangerous to stay in Russia because of my work and because I did this film. I did it 5 years ago, but the parallel is so strong in what's going on now. So I could be easily sentenced, even without any action, even without any raising money for Ukraine or whatever, just to be an author of this film. it's almost a drop, but it's better than nothing. At least if we would say one person, it would be already a result. So I have, because the war started, I have nothing, just my films.
今向かっているのがですね、まさに日本でいうと南オセチアと呼んでいるエリアです。ロシア軍に占拠されて2008年から特にですね、戦闘の後に占拠されて、その前から占拠状態はあったんですけども、独立をロシアが認めて、国際的には認められていないというエリアですね。すごい道がそれちゃんとセキュリティの方がボーダーエリアなんてつくっていうことですね。彼も銃を持ってます。あまりこっちに見せないですから。普通ののどかな村にしか見えないんですけどね、山あいの。これはかなりずっと携帯してる。So are they bringing always these arms?
Yes.
これはポリス。Georgian.
This is Georgian.
Yeah, police.
Okay.
The boat このエリ
Ah, fence.
ア。今ですね、こちらフェンスの向こう側ですね、ジョージアの国の端っこなんですけども、このフェンスの向こう側に行くとですね、ロシアに支配されているエリアです。もうフェンス、鉄条もぐるぐるといろいろと巻かれて、でその上見えますでしょうか、カメラでこれはロシア側から監視されているという状況です。はい。時折ですね、ロシアの実際に監視している軍隊の人が来るということですが、ちょっと今はそういう姿はないんですけども、おそらくしばらくここにいたらまた来るかと思います。そう、こことフェンスが今手前のこのフェンスともう一個奥にフェンスがちょっと線が引かれているのがあって、この間がいわゆるバッファー地帯、だいたいですね、何かの境目、特にこういう政治的だったり軍隊が衝突しているところの境目のエリアっていうのはバッファー地帯っていうのがありましてですね、もうただの線というかちょっと間に空間があるんですけども、まさにそうなってますね。フェンスと向こうのフェンスの間、はい、でそこにはカメラがあって、あれはでもロシア側のカメラだそうですね。ただ今、はい、今ですね、ちょっと我々に同行してくれているセキュリティの方にですね、あまり長居するとカメラで撮られてるから良くないという注意を受けましたので、少し離れようと思います。はい。突然こういうふうに遮られてしまって、向こう側に家族がいる。こちらですね、山の上というか、丘の上にある墓地の近くなんですけども、すごい眺めがいいとこで、それ眺めがいいがゆえにですね、向こう側ロシアに占拠されているというエリアが見えますね。ちょっと今から 今回も警察の方、この辺りの警備している方の同行を受けて、特別に許可を受けて、近づけるということで見に行こうと思っています。赤い屋根の建物、この丘から見える赤い屋根の建物のエリアがですね、いわゆる南オセチア、この辺りでいうとツヒンバリの場所になりますね。ロシア軍が占拠している場所です。で、ロシアが独立を、勝手にといいますか承認した場所になります。この山の向こう、山よりもっと向こうはロシアですね。実際にロシアの領土になります。これは本当にロシアで、山よりこっち側の、本来ならジョージアの領土だった場所が、ロシア軍が占拠しているツヒンバリ、あるいは南オセチアという場所になりますね。はい、こう見ると普通の町、普通の都市なんですけども、ここで2008年にかなり激しい戦闘があったということです。今ですね、ちょっと教えてもらったんですけど、ここから見える向こう側、いわゆるオセチアのロシア軍が占拠しているエリアで、ああいうビルディング、ちょっと壊れてるようなビルとか、結構ロシア軍がこっちを監視していたりするそうなんですね。ちょっと見えないとは思うんですけども、どうですかね。壊れたビルとか、あと左の方にあるちょっと黄色いビルとか、いる人わかんない。アンテナがあるところの下のあたりがなんかミリタリーポイント、ミリタリーベース、ロシア軍の基地があるだろうってとこですね。例えばあそこにポールがあって、それがですねあっちにもありますし、もちろん向こうのバッファー地帯にポツポツポツと何メートルがおきにポールがあってですね、それが全部監視カメラですね。ロシア側はここのエリアを監視しているという形です。お互いに監視してるんだと思いますけど、はい。Yeah, sorry. Nina san. Nice to meet you.
მაგრამ როდესაც დაიწყო საომარი მოქმედებები, ჩემი სახლი მთლიანად გადაწვეს, იმიტომ რომ შეაგდეს მოლოტოვის კოქტეილი და მე როდესაც ჩამოვედი, სახლი დამხვდა მხოლოდ კედლები, შავი კედლები.
こちらジョージアにある2008年の南オセチア紛争に関するミュージアムです。地元の方の協力で作られたのですが、このようにですね、戦闘の激しさを物語る展示がたくさん置いてあります。これは、1000度以上の炎で焼かれたという、瓶ですね。
მათ მოკლეს 12 ადამიანი ამ სოფელში მარტო. This village. და პლუს ერთი ჩემი მეზობელი გიგო პაპა 90 წლის, რომელიც მწოლი არა იყო ლოგიში, თავის სახლთან ერთად გამოწვეს. რომელმაც მიიღო თავის თავზე ეს ცეცხლი და ყველანაირი უბედურება. ზაჭრული სიტუაცია იყო, რადგან აი ეხლა სადაც ჩვენ ვიმყოფებით, აქედან ცხინვალი კილომეტრ ნახევარი მანძილის დაცილებით მდებარეობს. და ჩემი სახლიდან საოკუპაციო ხაზი 200 მეტრის დაცილებით. ანუ ძალიან ახლოსა ვარ. თქვენ წარმოიდგინეთ, აქ ყველაფერი, იქ ახლა 73 დღეა მიმდინარეობს ომი, ჩვენთან სულ მაქსიმუმი 5 დღე გრძელდებოდა ომი და 5 დღეში მოთავდა. და მთლიანად, აი ქართლი მთლიანად გაანადგურეს ოკუპანტებმა და წარმოიდგინეთ ახლა იქ რა ხდება, დღემდე რა ხდება, სულ განუწყვეტლი ურტყავენ ყველა მარიუპოლი, აზოვსტალი და ასე შემდეგ და აი ეგ რომ ჩვენთან ასე გაგრძელებულიყო, აქ ამათმა მხოლოდ გაეშლიგინეს იმამდე იგოეთამდე და დამთავრდა. და ეგ რომ რაც უკრაინაში ხდება, აქ განხორციელებულიყო, მაშინ ჩათვალეთ რომ საქართველოს აღარ იარსებებდა. მთელი საქართველოს ფეხზე დადგა, რომ აი მე დაუშვათ თქვენაირებმა, იმ გამოძევებულმა ადამიანებმა ყველამ რაღაცა თავისი წვლილი შეიტანა იმ უკრაინის დახმარების ფონდში.
ამ ალბომში
კი, აი მთლიანად ეს არის. Yes.
これはさっきのポスターの写真と一緒だね、多分。で、これが。
კარგია ეგ სურათი. ხო.
Attention, state border passage for 取っちゃダメよと。ここボーダーになってるオキュペーションエリアとのボーダーで注意と通過しちゃダメって書いてあって、そこのフェンスで彼女がお供え物をしている。で突然こういうふうに遮られてしまって、向こう側にお墓、家族のお墓がある人だったり、このエリアではそういうことがたくさんあるそうです。お供え物をすると。お墓参りの代わりにでそれをロシア人の向こう側からずっとウォッチしているとモニターしているというのがあるそうですね、毎年。So additional questions. So last question. So what is your ideal situation? So around this area.
მომავლისთვის ჩემი იდეალური სურათი იქნება, რომ ის მავთულ ხლართები, მახინჯი, რომელიც ყოფს ჩვენსა და იქით მიღმა დარჩენილ ტერიტორიას აიღებენ და ისინი გახდება ჩემი მუზეუმის ექსპონატი. ესო იდეალური ვარიანტი იქნება, როცა ოსები და ქართველები აი ამ ჩემ მუზეუმში მშვიდობაზე ილაპარაკებენ.
教会が運営している学校ですかね。ここも2008年に、攻撃された場所ですよね。日本の
Hello, God bless you. Hello, you're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, that's it. ამ ქვეყანამ ძალიან ბევრი დანაშაული ჩაიდინა დიდი ისტორიის მანძილზე და მათ არასდროს სამისთვის პასუხი არ მოეთხოვათ და ეს არის მათი უბედურება, ესე ამხელა ქვეყანა, ესე იგი, აი ეს მთავარი უბედურება მათთვის ეს გამარჯვებაა და იქნება ეხლა მაინც ეშვებოთ, იქნება. აი მუშაობს პალას. საერთოდ ომი ანგრევს რაღაცა, მაგრამ ომი რომ თავდება, უკეთესად კეთდება ხოლმე საერთოდ ყველაფერი და იმედი გვაქვს, რომ უკრაინაშიც უფრო კარგად გააკეთებენ მერე ის მადლით დამთავრდეს ეს ომი რა.
Absolutely, and not only government, people.
So taking the time. So the first, so could you introduce yourself? So yeah, to our viewer.
My name is Zarina Sanakoeva. I'm from South Ossetia. I'm a journalist.
In South Ossetia, there's no brutal behavior of Russian troops like that.
Russian troops. Russian army is like savior, has an image of a savior in South Ossetia, because in 2008 everybody believes, and I believe, that if Russian army would not come to South Ossetia, we would all be killed, and South Ossetia would not exist today.
So as for the current war in Ukraine, how does media outlet tell this matter in South Ossetia?
Well, I would say first, to explain the situation to you, South Ossetia is all covered and is in the Russian media sphere. So people here watch Russian TV, get information from Russian resources. Our media is not so developed and not so strong, and our TV channel just broadcasts a few hours a day, the only TV channel. So people get information from Russian media, and one can say that the Russian media sphere here is the same like in Russia. Yeah, you can say. So there is no question, and I would say the operation in Ukraine is supported in South Ossetia for sure, because everything that is related to Russia is supported here. When you get information that is just opposing one to another, so like 100%, like there are different things, different perspectives, and you don't know what to believe too. And it's hard for me to give my one moment. It's hard for me to criticize or support the actions or the things that are happening in Ukraine now. So don't get me wrong, I don't want to talk about the Russian troops now, or Russian army in Ukraine.
こちらリトアニアの西部の町にやってきました。この川に架かる橋の向こう側、目と鼻の先がロシアの飛び地カリーニングラードというエリアになります。
Mes su tėvais, kai aš buvau mažas, važiuodavom čia maisto produktų, bandelių pirkti. Čia kažkodėl žymios bandelės buvo sovietiniais laikais. Gal netgi taip pasakysiu, kad šitas kraštas darosi toks pat uždaras kaip Šiaurės Korėja.
今こちらですね、リトアニアの首都ビュリヌスからベラルーシの首都ミンスクに向かう、高速道路ですねを今走っています。ここがもうボーダーの旗がありますね。この辺りが首都ビリニュスから60キロぐらいですかね、ミンスク方面、ベラルーシの首都ミンスク方面にやってきました。そこにですねいろいろ旗がありますが、ここまさにですねベラルーシとリトアニアの国境エリアになります。ちょっとこの向こうには行けないんですけれども、今あちらにはトラックが、物流のトラックですね、列をなしているのが見えます。出てないですよね。はい、今のところトラック以外一台もその乗用車的なのがいないから、やっぱりもうそういう場所なんだね。交流はないわけです。これそれぞれ何の話か。バラ？バラは何？
これも国旗の一部を採用して、そこにバラとロシア。
この旗っていうのはある意味その今の政権反政府の象徴の旗だから、そうかそうか、わざとリトアニア側に置いてるけど向こうではできない。
そうですね。
1991年のメモリアル。こちらビリニュスの、旧ソ連時代ですね。旧ソ連時代からあるテレビ塔のこの麓に来ているんですけども、あちらにですね、この石碑のようなものがあります。はい、これ人の名前が刻んであります。こちらですね、1991年に起きた、日本語だと血の日曜日事件と言われていますが、リトアニアだと1月13日事件というそうです。その時に、旧ソ連が、独立をしようとしたリトアニア、独立を宣言したリトアニアにこう戦車で攻め込んできたという事件で13人の方が亡くなったということで、ここに石碑があります。テレビ塔を占拠するというのはやはりメディアがある意味こういう戦時下においてかなり重要な役割を果たすということの象徴でもあるように思います。実際に今ロシアでは戦争が始まった時にメディア規制というのをかなり早い段階でやって、自由な報道ができなくなっています。我々のような仕事というのが実はそういう重要な使命を帯びていて、ある意味危険と隣り合わせだというのもちょっとここから感じることもできるような石碑です。こちらリトアニアの首都ビュリニュス郊外の変電所にやってきました。実はですね、こちらの変電所、あちらベラルーシにもつながっているということです。ただし2020年からもう売買は停止しています。 バッテンのとかもちろんですね。今とりあえずここがバッテンになってるけど、将来的には他のこの灰色の1、2、3、4、これすべて接続しない形に切り離す形になるということです。これがある意味ベラルーシあるいはロシアからの依存からの脱却というリトアニアの壮大なエネルギー計画。I'm Wataru from Tokyo.
Yes, nice to meet you.
We are Japanese TV station. Yes.
It's very important. Before that, we had only import possibilities from Russia and Belarus, and since 2015 we diversified our import sources. We started importing electricity from Scandinavia and Poland. We started with this connection, but in 2025 we expect to fully disconnect from all lines and desynchronize from Russia and Belarus.
Future generations, I think it's the one single biggest question. I think technologies have developed. We have so-called SOS agreements with neighboring countries. So if, for example, there is a shortage of gas in Latvia, we will be supplying them. So I wouldn't like to criticize, other countries in the European Union. We all make mistakes. But I think this war was a very clear wake-up call for us all to work together, to be more energy independent, also to increase our military spending, and also sometimes to prepare to fight for our values.
Tonight, the club wishes to convey a message of peace and enlightenment.
Керта Путіна Україна приймте і увагу.
こちらビュリニュスの鉄道駅にやってきました。この電車が今止まっている場所はリトアニアの国内の電車が止まっています。そことフェンスを隔てた隣のホーム、こちらロシアモスクワとカリーニングラードを結ぶ鉄道が止まる場所なのですが、ここでですね、今ウクライナの写真展を開催しています。少し痛々しい写真なども並んでいて、これをロシアの人たちに見てほしいということです。これちょうど来たの。見えなくなっちゃったよ。
Галерея картин, которые вы можете посмотреть из окна своего вагона. Сегодня Путин убивает мирных жителей Украины. Вы согласны с этим?
こちら、リトアニアの首都ビュリニュスの住宅街にやってきました。この辺り一帯ですね、ウクライナを支援するようなものがたくさんあるんですけども、例えばこれ、住宅、あそこ見てください。フラッグにもウクライナの国旗が、ベランダですね、窓に置いてあります。でさらにこちら道の方に振り向くと、こういう木にくくりつけてあったり、こちら公園の中見ても布がくくりつけてある、あれですね、ちょっと色が若干どっちが正しいのか、色が違う青だったりしますけど、水色と黄色のこれもウクライナ国旗です。なぜこんな風になってるかというとですね、これ、向こう側ちょっと後ほど行ってみますけど、あそこの大きな建物がありますが、あそこがロシア大使館です。リトアニアのロシア大使館になります。で各国のロシア大使館の周りではですね、ウクライナを支援する人たちが、プロテスト、抗議活動を行っていまして、ウクライナ支援のためにこういうウクライナの国旗にまつわるものを展示していたりですとか、あるいはもう亡くなった方を悼むようなものというのが置いてあります。でこちらリトアニアも、かなりロシアと ロシアの飛び地があるということで、ロシアとの関係も深い国なので、ウクライナへの支援というのはかなり熱くやっているということで、そうなっています。でですね、これもうなってるのかな。こちらですね、ここを見てほしいんですよ。これがそうですね、ウクライナ英雄通りという通りの名前になってます。これそうですよね、上に書いてあるの。下も、はい、これ何かというとですね、このリトアニアのロシア大使館がある通りの名前を、今回のウクライナへの、ロシアの侵攻を受けてですね、ウクライナ英雄通りという名前に本当に変えてしまったというですね、一説によると、本当にそうかどうかはまだ確認してないんですけども、このロシア大使館に手紙を送ろうとする、何か郵便物を送ろうとする場合には、ウクライナの英雄、ウクライナのことを称える住所を書かないと届かないかもしれないと言われているということです。ちょっともう少し近づいてみましょう。はい、こちらもそうですね、これウクライナひまわりが一応テーマというか、ウクライナを象徴する花なのでひまわりがありますね。ウクライナに栄光あれ、ウクライナを称えるメッセージがここにも。そしてこっち右側は英語のメッセージですね。ロシアの人に次ぐプーチンのゾンビになるんだと書いてありますね。レポートしてる。海外メディアも取材に来てるんですね。PBPS って書いてあります。じゃあちょっと多分普通に歩いてると気づかないんですけど、向こうから見るとプーチンって呼びかけて、ハーグ条約、国際司法裁判所とかあるハーグが Waiting for you、 あなたを待ってますよ、要は戦争犯罪人として裁かれるべきだと。なかなかこれも強烈なメッセージですね。
Hello. Welcome to Vilnius. So, where are my flags?
Sorry, so we moved.
Yeah, move them there. Hello.
He's camera. The postcard.
Sure, that's in presenting Vilnius, we have, of course, we have about our architecture, about streets, about how Vilnius looks. This is new developments, but people.
This is a new one.
All these are new ones, but people like this one most because this is the small street which leads to Russian embassy, and of course we've put an invitation for Putin, inviting him to Hague, because of course what is clear that Putin is a war criminal. So. The place of war criminals is in the Hague Tribunal.
これ裏返すと、ここにロシア大使館の住所、ウクライナ英雄通り。これわざわざですね、ビルニス市、この市、首都である市がこのハガキを作って市民に配ったりしてるっていうことですね。非常に日本ではあまり考えられないような。
Our message, and of course we want this message again to be very bold and clear. I would like to ask all the viewers, also of the Japanese audience, not to call Putin Mr. Putin. He is not Mr. He is criminal. You do not Hitler, Mr. Hitler. So you please do not call Putin Mr. Putin. His place is in criminal justice tribunal in The Hague, and then we have to stop it as soon as possible. He will never stop by himself. Yeah. So this is the place. This is Vilnius leading to Minsk. As you see, to Kiev almost 800 kilometers, to Minsk, which is unfortunately occupied by Russia, by Kremlin regime, is almost 200 kilometers. Of course, we would like Belarus to stay independent again, and that's we were in one state for many years, and we are like brotherly nations, but unfortunately they are in a very different and difficult position right nowadays.
リトアニアの首都ビリニュスからベラルーシの首都ミンスクに向かう途中の道中ですね。見えてきたかな。こちらの看板見えますでしょうか。キエフまで779キロ、ミンスクまで187キロ、クレムリンに支配されていると書いてあります。これも一つの国としてロシアの侵攻に反対しているというメッセージだそうです。How about the threat by Belarus?
For us, again, living in the same region from Japan, I do understand that it looks very, 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 very far away, and all the countries are so close. For us, of course, Belarus is very close, and we and Belarus are nations which were together for many hundred years, for many centuries. And unfortunately, it's now, we may say, and again, I'll even put a road sign indicating that unfortunately Minsk and Belarus is occupied by Kremlin. Practically, it is, I mean, theoretically, it's still independent state, but it feels that, you know, all decisions are dictated from Kremlin. So we are very unhappy about the situation. We would like Belarus to be independent again and democratic again. We don't see a kind of threat from Belarus directly, but we see a threat from Russia, which also is on the soil of Belarus. And what we see that Ukraine is attacked also from the soil of Belarus.
So about the safety rules, I have helmets and glasses for you. These are for protection because they are using the blank ammunition and vehicles are driving back and forth. So if rocks will fly, then they won't hurt you. So if it's okay, then let's jump into the cars and go.
時折こう道端にそこにもいました。ちょっとこう戦車、に草をつけて、擬態というんでしょうか、森の中でこう一見わからないような形にして潜んでいるという、これすでにもう訓練始まっているということですね。キャタピラーだからやっぱ戦車なんですね。これは装甲輸送車じゃなくて本当に。すごいですね。本格的。NATO の今軍事演習の会場です。今回森の中で行われるということで、実際に森の戦闘を想定しているということなんですが、ここも見えますかね、木の間にあそこにもう戦車が待機してるんですね。一見ちょっとですね、緑なのでわからないような場所にいます。はい。So it is a Britain car, Britain tank.
So it's called a Warrior.
So how many people? How many operators in there?
You can get, I think, about 8 people inside.
8 people. Oh, 8. Oh,
but they're in the back.
In the back, yeah.
So it's used to transport troops. They have the weapon.
Yeah. こちらの目の前の低いところにいる方がドライバーで、この中とか8人乗っているという形みたいです。でこれはイギリスの軍の、タンクですね。多分中取っちゃダメなんじゃないですか。中はここ我々見えるんですけど、中は取っちゃダメということで、一応やっぱり軍事秘密ということですね。多分私もよく取材するときに軍隊の取材するとき言われるんですけども、例えばドアの厚さ、壁の厚さ、材質だけでもどんな攻撃が効きやすいかというのが分かってしまうので、おそらくそういう理由ですね。はい、あと中のデザインというか間取りというかどういう配置になっているかでどこを狙いやすいかというのもバレてしまうので、基本的には中は取っちゃいけないという。 ちょうど雪が溶けてぬかるんだ道で高低差のある凸凹したところを進んでいってます。エストニアならではの地形ですね。
So the training what we are conducting now is extremely important, just to make us ready to conduct the military operations if time comes and there is some sort of military aggression against not only Estonia but also against any Baltic states. So the training plays the crucial role that we will be able to succeed in our mission as we foresee it.
What kind of enemy do you assume in this training?
This training is built on a conventional enemy. It's not a secret that Russia has been the main military threat for Estonia, and all scenarios what we are building up is built on understanding how the Russian military will operate if they conduct a military operation against Estonia.
こちらのエリアですね、もうロシアとの国境に近い、だいたい100キロぐらい先に進んだらもうロシアとの国境があるエリアで、 NATO のこういう軍事演習だったり、軍事基地ベースとしてもかなりロシアに近い、まさに最前線の一つと言っていい場所です。エストニアだとですね、もう本当に国境を接していることから、普段からこういった軍事演習が行われているということで、今実際に NATO の方ではもうエストニアも含めバルト海から黒海の方までそれぞれのエリアに派兵をしていてですね、本当に防波堤のような形で対ロシアの布陣を引いているという形になっています。はい、今回のも、普段ですとですね、例えば自衛隊の軍事演習だと、中国だったり、例えばロシア、東側ですねのロシアと対峙しているようなエリアでもですね、自衛隊の軍事演習している時に自衛隊の方に聞いてもですね、敵国の想定みたいなのは、特定の敵を指さないことが多いんですけども、今回のケースですとですね、先ほどこの軍事演習に参加しているエストニア軍の方に聞いてみると、はっきりとロシアへの警戒を強めている、そのための軍事演習だという話をしていました。この辺りがですね、もう本当に目の前に差し迫っている、本当に現実としてあり得る危機として捉えているか、あるいはあくまで想定される危機で、エスカレーションさせないためにも言わないっていう自衛隊のスタンスとまたかなり違うなというのが感じられました。
Yes.
So, is it okay to interview you?
Yes.
So we are Japanese TV Tokyo film crew. So could you explain that again the presence of French military in this battle group? So
France is here because we are part of the member of the alliance and NATO, and we want to be to participate to the defense at the flank. East flank of Europe. The Estonian people are a little bit afraid. So the EFP, we decided that the EFP is to continue this mission and to well adapt after the war of Ukraine, to well adapt this mission, to be sure that everything it's done.
You're from Denmark.
I'm from Denmark.
Okay.
I think Putin was trying to disorganize NATO and disorganize the European Union, the EU, and that was one of his goals by attacking Ukraine. He has achieved the exact opposite. The EU is more united than ever. NATO is more united than ever. NATO has, in a very, very short time, showed that it can actually stand up a lot of soldiers, a lot of troops, a lot of equipment, airplanes, ships, everything needed to put in place and do a huge difference. It's a deterrence of Russia, but I'm sure that deterrence is working very, very well.
So Estonia is very important. So Estonia is a northern Baltic country. It sits, it shares a border with Russia, and also it sits at the sort of mouth of the Gulf of Finland as well, which is an important shipping route as well. So Estonia is very important. But at the moment, you've just seen some recent uplifts and strengthening of NATO forces within Estonia, just to make sure that we do have those defensive capabilities and that we're able to defend in Estonia and across the alliance.
So are you prepared for the last case?
So we always train to make sure that we are able to defend and defend quickly. So all our exercises are designed to enable us to work alongside the Estonians and the French and the Danish to make sure that we have, we are always prepared to deal with whatever aggression comes our way.
Yeah, the first question is about the threat by Russia. So how big is the threat by Russian troops and the Russian government for Estonian people and Estonian government?
Well, we need to look at this in two timescales. The imminent timescale is that the threat level is very low, especially because Russia has moved most of the forces that are stationed on the Estonian border to fight in Ukraine. So this gives us confidence to say that in imminent time term, the threat level is very low. But in longer term, the threat picture has never been as serious. Well, clearly we come to this conclusion because what they are conducting in Ukraine, but also the demands that they have put forward for NATO and for Western allies, where they have been extremely clear. Their intent is to basically restore the Soviet Union, dismantle NATO, and to destruct the collective defense umbrella under mainly Eastern nations. And we take this threat very seriously.
So is NATO enough to counteract for that, so protect for the people?
NATO is the cornerstone of our defense. It is very important for Estonia, and it's up for its tasks. The way we feel, the current force posture of NATO on eastern border is not enough. But luckily, NATO is working hard to get this on the sufficient level. And the heads of state and government have just a few weeks ago set the tasking for Madrid summit that there needs to be proposals at the table how to ramp this up on the sufficient level.
NATO members, so how important is the presence of NATO for the small countries?
It's extremely important. It's the cornerstone of our defense. It's the cornerstone of NATO's defense, because NATO is not only defending Estonia here. NATO is defending the values that the alliance has stood for 70 years: freedom, democracy, the freedom of speech, free maneuverability, economic growth, and so forth that we enjoy every day.
Hello. Okay, so we are covering the situation about the Ukrainian crisis. So
well, when the war started, I really felt that, oh my God, now it comes to here also. But right now I'm a bit calmer and I don't worry so much. And well, I really hope that it will not happen, but we'll see. I think that if the Ukraine stands till the end and wins the war, then we are safe. But if not, then there are a possibility.
See reaalne oht on jaa. Kuidas seal läheb, sellest oleneb meie tulevik ja terve Lääne-Euroopa tulevik üldiselt ka.
If Russia should or maybe attacks in Estonia, of course the current forces here are not enough.
Military soldier? Soldier だね、あれね。There is a cyber defense base of NATO, so in Estonia. So could you explain the situation of the cyber defense department? How is the relationship between them, and so how is their preparation for the cyber attack in Estonia?
Cyber Defense Center of Excellence, it's a center of excellence. It's basically a think tank or a research organization. It's not, I'd say, operational unit that should deal with current problems. The current issues are dealt by Information System Authority of Estonia and CERT, the Computer Emergency Response Team that is subordinated to them. Plus, of course, additionally, the police authorities, they are dealing with cybercrimes. Currently, it's very common that everybody knows what the cyber attacks are and that they do occur. But prior to 2007, it was something like science fiction, that IT people who were thinking about it, they were told that, well, you should deal with issues in the real world, like that I could print or that there would be faster internet or such kind of things. Not to deal with some science fiction that might even never happen. So of course, 2007 it changed a lot in public perception, also in perception of the officials and all the people.
Scheme, so in Estonia, and there is a lot of.
You cannot really just go. So in Estonia, because everybody has an electronic ID, we can identify ourselves online safely and access all the services digitally as well. So you would get an e-residency kit. So you see that it has a chip here. It's the same that our every ID card has, and you get PIN number 1, PIN number 2, and then you can. This computer has a possibility to. So do it like this. Most computers don't have the option, so you would have to buy the ID card reader. And once it's done, you can put in your PIN and you've identified yourself and you have access to our digital services. And now you can create a company in Estonia without actually being here. So in Estonia, we try to mitigate the threats as much as possible because whatever could happen, a cyber attack, even a natural catastrophe could happen. And that's why we have those cornerstones in place. So for example, I can access services safely thanks to my electronic ID. The X-Road makes it sure that we have this interoperability, but we don't have all the data in one place. So that means that if somebody manages to hack into one system, they only have access to that system and nothing else. Because in 2007, we received a very intense attack towards our nation. Both public and private sector entities were targeted, and that made us think about it already in 2007.
Now, is not looked at and associated with the Olympics at all. They actually look at the TV towers in a very different light.
So, nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to meet you. You're really nice.
Yeah, could you see?
Thank you.
And he's the cameraman.
Very nice.
We are based. President Biden described inhuman behavior of Russian troops, the genocide. But there are other leaders describing just war crime. Now, how do you see?
For us, of course, it is very problematic that Russia has started this unprovoked and unjustified war against a sovereign and independent country in Europe, against Ukraine. So, and as it's taking place here in our region, then of course we follow all the developments very carefully. And with regard to these brutal killings and torturing and raping of Ukrainian women, children, and of course men at the moment is very worrisome, of course. And we have also supported the investigation of ICC with this regard. And as we have seen that there is a systematic killing of particular groups of people, particularly Ukrainians, then we definitely see that there are elements of genocide. And we truly hope that the ICC will quickly start with all the evaluations and investigations with this regard, and would give the appropriate answer what's going on the place, and also, of course, that all war criminals would be taken into the court. This justice is very important.
So is it a kind of genocide, not just genocide?
Of course, it is a court who decides the final, who has the final word on this, but absolutely there are elements of genocide, what we have seen based on current news and information that we have from the ground.
Okay, the next question. So looking at the current behavior of Russian troops and Russian government as a neighboring country, so Estonia, what sense do you feel this inhuman behavior?
We consider that the security situation in Europe as a whole is changed. And of course, we are very much worried about it because Estonia is a small country. For small countries, the rules-based world order is very important. And at the moment, we see that there is huge violations of international law, violations of all the agreements on which the security of Europe is based on. And of course, in addition, all these inhuman killings in Ukraine, these make us very worrisome. And we have raised this question in different international formats, of course within the EU and NATO, but also in the formats where the Russian Federation is a member of, like the United Nations. Also, from our perspective, it is very important to isolate politically Russia from the international organizations because they have violated rules-based order. Clearly, we see that this aggressive behavior is problematic for world peace and security.
How important is the presence of NATO for small countries?
Estonia chose to become a member of NATO already end of 90s, and we are really glad that since 2004 we are a member of NATO, because for us, for our society, it is very important that together with other NATO allies we can protect our democratic society. And as it was agreed already at the last NATO summit in June last year, Russia poses threat to democracies in Europe. Then, of course, the more robust presence of NATO allies here in Estonia is very important for us.
So, is NATO enough to protect your country?
NATO is the strongest defense alliance in the world, and we truly believe that together we are strong enough to protect every inch of NATO's territory, including here in Estonia. Yes, Estonia has, of course, its own defense forces as well, and we are also increasing the capabilities of our own defense forces. We also have increased the budget from 2% to 2.3% to 2.5% from the GDP, and together with NATO, we at the moment we are adjusting our defense plans. 2%. Yes, the standard is 2%.
Estonia has a border, so with Russia, so in the eastern side of Estonia, and so Japan, has a border, but just on the sea. What role do you expect for Japan?
Yes, we are located in each other side of Russia, and we have really been very much worried what's going on, or how Russia has approached its neighbors and how it has violated international law. Therefore, from our perspective, it is important to put pressure on Russia to stop these violations of international law, to stop aggression in Ukraine, withdraw troops from Ukraine, and therefore these sanctions that we have adopted at the EU level, and with which also Japan and other like-minded countries have joined, are very important, because it seems that together with political pressure, we also have put economic pressure to Russia to show that this kind of violations of international law are not acceptable.
So how much sanction is enough to stop the Russian aggression?
This is, of course, very difficult to assess what would be this last element that would help to end the war. But for us, or from our perspective, it is really important to put pressure on the finances that Russia receives from the Western countries, because with these finances, Russia finances its war in Ukraine. And therefore, I think that we must be ready for long-term pressure so that Russia would not have enough finances to support this war any longer. And of course, we truly hope that there would be that the sooner the better the end wars of the war ends. Of course, is important, especially for civilians on the ground. But at the moment, we have not seen enough willingness to end this war by Russia's side.
At the moment, so Finland and Sweden and so other small countries want to join NATO and so thinking of so joining NATO. So is this decision understandable?
Estonia has always been a supporter of NATO's open door policies. And we think that both NATO's and EU's open door policies have been successful. We can say it based on our own experiences. Estonia is kind of a border country between democracy and autocracy. But I think that it's not a problem because we are a member of NATO, we are a member of the EU. Therefore, we are part of this democratic world and enjoy all the benefits of democratic world. And of course, as at the moment we have seen that the security environment in Europe has changed, then it is quite logical that other democracies also would like to join NATO, because the main idea of NATO is to defend democracies. And therefore, from our perspective, of course, the bigger NATO alliance is, the more democracies are protected. But of course, this final decision of Finland and Sweden must be taken by those people.
There's a lot of Russian-speaking people in Estonia. So yeah, I assume that it is kind of difficult to make the solidarity or like that.
Yes, in Estonia we have a Russian-speaking community, which is about 27-28% of the Estonian population. And the majority of them are also Estonian citizens. So we don't consider them as residents, but as our own citizens. And also Russian-speaking community, it is very diverse. Some of them are really integrated into Estonian society. They are participating in our political life. They are members of the parliament, for example. So they are creating our policies. Of course, there are also people who are more following Russian media and might be also more affected by the fake news and misleading news from Russia. And of course, our government, especially now during the war in Ukraine, we try to reach out more to these people and explain what is going on in Ukraine and who is aggressor in this conflict. But let me recall that when on the 26th of February, we had a huge gathering here in Estonia. About 30,000 people came together to support Ukraine in this very beginning of this unjustified war. These people were a big mixture of different nationalities living here in Estonia.
Estonia announced their plan for the future.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we plan to do it during this year, and it is related to Russia's gas. And so currently we are preparing to build a floating gas terminal in Paldiski port. so that we can smoothly finish the import of Russia's gas. Yeah.
But the Estonian people can accept the price inflation affected by the stopping the Russian oil.
Yes, it has definitely a socio-economic effect to our society, but it is still cheaper than the war.
こちらモルドバのワイナリーにやってきました。ミレスティミチというすごいもう歴史のあるワイナリーで非常に大きいところなんですけども、入り口にちょっとディズニーランドみたいですけどドドーンと泉ですね。まあワインを模した形になっています。匂いは普通の水なのでさすがに本物のワインではないと思うんですけど、はい、これ白ワインですね。実は向こう奥にはですね赤ワインもありますので、リアルのレッドワインよりは少し色味がなんかストロベリーとかブドウジュースとかに近い感じに見えるかな。ここワイナリーですが、観光地にどこにでもある Wi-Fi がですね、あそこを見るとワインファイって書いてますね。Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Wataru.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm
Welcome
Taku.
to Nice to meet you.
Cameraman Taku. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Hello. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. How many visitors do you have per year?
So the highest number of visitors was in 2019, and we had 39,000 visitors.
39,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And the winery was established in 1969, but the funnels. So people extract stone here for about 300 years for their home necessities. But after the Second World War, local authorities started to extract limestone to rebuild Chisinau city. I will show you later. And they dug these funnels, and when they finished, they saw that this is constant temperature about 12 degrees, high humidity, which is a good condition for wine aging. And they used this location as a hub, collecting some of the best wines from the entire country, aging them here, then bottling and exporting to different countries.
本当に迷路みたいですね。わあ。Sometimes are there Japanese tourists?
Yeah, we have some visitors from Japan. We also export wines to Japan. Yeah, and we think it's the first winery Moldovan winery who exported wines to Japan. Yeah. Here is the place where is located the biggest wine collection in the world, registered in the Guinness Book.
In the world?
Yeah, in the world. So it's registered with 1.5 million bottles. So now we have a bit more, 1.7 million bottles, and we still want to increase it.
Wow.
Here is a copy of Guinness certificate of the biggest one.
だからギネス記録になったのは 1.5 ミリオンボトル、150万ボトルがありますよと。この55キロにわたって地下のアンダーグラウンドにあるというのでギネス記録に。
We had some sad periods too. Gorbachev, the last governor of Soviet Union, he decided to fight with alcoholism, cutting the vineyards, and Moldova being the biggest plantations. And there was a risk to destroy the wines from this winery too. And the people from this village and from this winery, they decided to save even a part of this wine, because you see here is a huge volume of wines. They built a secret room where they where they to hide some wines. So here is the secret room. At that time there wasn't any engines, but please come in.
ここにレバーがあって押したら、多分昔は違ったんだね、エンジンがなくて。おお、secret room.
And if on that side of the door you may see wines from 86 and younger, so here you may see all the wines. For example, just next to you there is a wine from 1983. Here you may see from 1980. And the oldest wine that we have here, this is from 1975. So the oldest wine that we have in our collection is from 1973.
これだからそのゴルバチョフ時代に渡された中のシークレットルームと。だからちょっと古いやつが多いっていうことですね。一番古いのがここにあるので73年。すごいですよね。
The wines from this side of the room are registered in a special register, and it's a national treasure, and we cannot sell them. So it's
基本的にはじゃあ買えないけど、そういう国賓だったりとか、そういう外国の要人が来た時に政府が使うということなので。
Here we have some private collections.
So they're
from different countries. Yeah, you can buy some wines from us and to store them here and paying a fee for.
なるほどね。ここを見てもですね、ちょっとさっきもちろんこの近隣国もあるんですけども、ここのは中国の人で1、2と、向こう側もこれも中国の人なんで、結構中国勢のなんというか投資あるいはお金の使う額の大きさっていうのをすごく感じますね。こういうことがもう中国ですよね。What's the purpose to secure this cellar?
First of all, it's a good place to store your wines, because here's a constant temperature, so it's a very good temperature for wine storing. And the second, when you have each year, the price of these wines is higher and higher, so it's a kind of investment.
Investment.
Yeah.
おお、すごい飲みやすい。So could you tell us the percentage of the destination export?
90s years, the Russian Federation had about 85% of all our export of wine. So during of last year, there was about 14-15%. So it's much less, because during of these years we had many bans of export of Moldovan wines to Russian Federation, and Moldovan wineries found another markets such Japan, China, Canada, USA, and other European countries.
Question is get affected by this war on your business, so especially in terms of export.
Our containers were blocked in Odessa port, and it took us about, let's say, 1.5 months to send them from Odessa to Constanța port. And now they are on the way to our partners from China. One of the most important of our activities is tourism. We have many visitors from Moldova and from abroad, and till now we have less foreign visitors than in previous years, even during of pandemic, because the war is just next to our border. It's very close to us, and foreigners are a bit scared of this.
I'm Watari. He's cameraman. From products means product.
This is sorting room for apples. This is sorting line for apples.
To where?
These are going to Belarus.
Belarus. これ見ていただければ分かるんですけど、リンゴをまあちょっと保管する場所で、これがだいたい1度、0度から1度の温度にしてあるそうです。で、季節が終わりかけなので全部ここに普段2つのところに分かれているのを1つのところにまとめるということで今移動していると。はい。誰かアイス食べに来てる。ジュエリーみたいですね。わあ、すごい。
I know Japan likes cherries, right?
Yeah.
How much they are in Japan?
Depends on the types of cherries. Yeah. So, can I try?
Eat as much as you can, guys. Come on, please. Go ahead. Did you try this year or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead. Eat some cherries.
チェリーすっごい美味しそう。本当に美味しそうですね。じゃあちょっといただきますね。めちゃくちゃ美味しいです。甘さも酸っぱさもちょうどいい加減で、これ何個でもいけちゃいますね、多分。いや本当に美味しい。As for apple, 90% of Moldovan apples are exported to
Russia. They go to Russia. This is a market for a really long time, since I don't know, since Soviet Union times. Yeah, and all the people, all the producers already, they have their customers over there, so they know each other. They know exactly the way to do business with this country. But now, since the war, we have to switch. Hold on, it's gonna
switch. How do you manage the way to export? You know that so recently, so you cannot use for the support. So yeah, how do you manage?
It is pretty hard. Basically, I would say really hard, not pretty hard. So, for example, before war, products going to Russia, I'm not exporting directly to Russia, but I can tell you the cost of the transport was like 2,800 per truck. So basically this is for 20 tons. This is the amount we pay for transporting to Russia. Since the war started, the price started going up. Like first 2 weeks it was like 5,000. Another 2 weeks it was like 7,000.
Wow.
So today the price went up all the way to 15,000. So now we are using only Moldavian companies. So basically there is not enough trucks. I don't know when this is gonna stop. I mean, all these things, but so far they go worse and worse.
まあちょっとこう見てもらうと面白いというとあれですけれども、まあ、興味深いのがこのパーテーションで区切られているところが実はコロナの隔離用のエリアだとちょっと中ベッドがあるんでちょっとだけ見てもらえるとそれをまあ避難民の方のスペースとして使ってるってことですね。布団しかないエリアはもういないっていうことですしね。はい、結構だから空の部屋っていうのもあると、はい、こうした空の部屋も出ているほど、まあ、避難民の方が、まあ、最初の時期には一斉に押し寄せたのがいなくなっているところもあるということですね。はい、ウクライナに帰ったという人もいれば、まあ、うまくこう定住の地を見つけた人もいると。
Я ж не одна приехала, тоже с внуками, с детьми. У меня инвалид на коляске, сын мой. Нам очень тяжело передвигаться дальше, очень. Мы бы хотели бы дальше, но думаю, может скоро закончится, поедем домой. А далеко поехать, когда мы будем дома приезжать? Ну, сами не знаем, как что делать. Ждем, может быть, закончится и поедем домой, дай бог. Мы с Одессы.
С Одессы. Хорошо, спасибо.
Помощь есть и денежная помощь, и детям помогают, памперсы, все дают. Все здесь нельзя жаловаться.
So she
да,
says...
и хорошо здесь.
What kind of assistance do Ukrainians need?
Starting of this crisis, a lot of people came here without right documents, without international passports. They can't go just with internal ID. A lot of kids don't have any passport. They have just birth certificate and etc. We explain what kind of documents they need to go from one country to another, what difficulties can be there, how they can get to embassy of Ukraine in Moldova, and what kind of questions they need to answer them, and etc. Something like this. Also, here is some kids who came here with their grandparents, but they don't have any documents, right, agreement of their parents to come with their grandparents too. They have just birth certificate. Also, we establish these kind of questions too, and help with these things. People go to other countries of European Union, and the small part go back there in Ukraine, but it's a small part just because they are saturated with that crisis. They want to go home, they want to go stay away from this home, they're stressful, and at the moment they don't understand that in Ukrainian it's a war, but they want to go home, and without any reasons they want to go and stay in their home and their usual life, because it's a problem too, because those people who came back, I don't know what's going to be there. We explain them, please think about it, it's not safe there, please think one more time. We have a lot of programs for European Union countries, and also you can stay in Moldova for legally till the end of the war. It's not a problem, you can stay here, you can be accommodated here, we're welcome. Also here we have some information about conditions in different countries. For example, in Austria, and here you can scan this thing, and there. Oh, sorry, my phone.
Очень приятно. Снова. Hello. Yeah. My name is Natalia.
I'm Wataru. He's the cameraman. Taki.
I will write.
It's hard to pronounce.
Letter by letter.
Yeah, Japanese
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Okay.
Да. Ну, белок очень хороший, он просто очень закопченный, потому что когда он на плите находится чайник, очень сложно его сохранить как бы блестящим и таким.
Очень теплые люди, очень душевные люди, очень хорошо встречают и очень хорошо помогают, это правда. И это очень приятно. Потому что это было, ну как, мы понимали, что люди везде есть, ну так, чтобы везде, мы не ожидали даже. И помощь здесь достаточно, молодцы. Мы, лично я считаю, что это большое дело они делают.
Надо. Yeah, you can.
You want to film?
Yes, a little bit.
Yes.
Before.
Okay.
Our film.
Yes. Put a little bit of sour cream on this.
ほら中にこうお肉、この中にお肉とかで周りがキャベツで包まれてる。
Sour cream design. Yeah. Okay.
これははいウクライナ料理作っていただきました。ちょっと食べます。美味しい。日本のロールキャベツとすごい似てますね。味もちゃんとしっかり染み込んでて。
Budget is getting harder. So what do you think about this situation? So,
Yeah, the situation, I understand what you mean. It means that it's really difficult according to financial situation in Moldova to help, to support, but it's really important to have support from abroad. It's very important because really we have not enough budget to help these people fully. And here it was opened a lot of special centers for refugees, and it was a lot of beds, some food, and what it was done by our government, but of course it was support from abroad.
Do you see some subsidy from the government?
Probably again it's not from government.
Not
yeah.
from government.
It was two kind of financial support. One financial support is for refugees, and every family it means one person or 10 persons, but it's family.
Just family.
Yeah, can have this sum about 100 euro. Yeah, but they can have it every month. But it started not from the beginning, but for people. Hosters, yeah. Also, we can have sum just one time, no more, and it's about 150 euro. Oh. Yeah, but it means if I have 2 people at home or I have 10 people at home, doesn't matter. It's just this fixed sum, 150, one time. Per all period that refugees stayed in my place. And also I would like to say, for example, if pensioners in Moldova, for example, my mother, she has a pension 100 euro per month. So, what's to say about country? It means that it's really poor country that cannot give more money for people who worked all life for this country, yeah, and for example, to pay these communal bills, yeah, like gas, electricity, etc., for example, last month, April, for this flat was paid 150 euro. Yes, it's so. It's important, and we're really thankful that it's happened. Yeah, and we can support Ukrainian people with support of international society.
Больше, я старше.
Юра,
Я регистрируюсь после аварии.
Ты кто?
モルドバ共和国、ヨーロッパの中でも最も貧しい国とも言われている場所です。ここのですね、内務省、国内のこと、主に治安ですとか、あとは移民難民対策などについても担当している内務省の大臣にこれから話を聞きます。ここが内務省の庁舎ということですね。
Hello. So I'm Wataru from TV Tokyo.
Nice to meet you.
He's cameraman Taku. Yeah. So how do you support the refugee, like something like that? Yeah.
Yes. Well, we are the Ministry of Internal Affairs, so I'll definitely present you the situation from the perspective of internal affairs system. That is quite an increase in terms of the population, but also a huge pressure on all the administrative systems, health, social protection, education, and definitely the security one. We've pulled together all the resources that we have had. Of course, you have to understand that the system of internal affairs was calibrated for peace times, which means that in order to tackle all the challenges to public order, to cross-border crime, to public security, we had to pull all the resources and including increase the number of shifts. So the system was definitely overstretched. We've activated the command center since day number one. We've opened call centers for refugees. We've activated mobile patrolling teams. We have created special analytical task forces. So the response mechanism from the perspective of internal affairs was quite quick, quite complex, and we managed to overcome possible threats to public security.
So, in addition to the refugees issue, so Moldova, as a country, Moldova faced with a big issue, economic problem. You know
exactly.
So, yeah, the inflation rate is so dramatically increasing. So,
unfortunately, it can have a negative effect because the poverty can be further deepened. And poverty is also a favoring factor to various specific categories of crimes. We understand that this, not only the war, which is at our borders, and not only the cross-border crime, but also internal domestic affairs and other possible crises such as security, such as food crisis, such as energetic crisis, such as we feel now inflation, could also be factors that favor unfortunately, various changes in the security picture domestically.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, maybe I should have mentioned it. You know, in only 9 months, this government has declared 3 times a state of emergency. It never happened before in our 30 years of independence. Just in 9 months. The first one related to COVID. The second one was energy crisis, and now, in addition, that also fueled a huge increase in prices, and now we have the war. So, being the poorest in Europe, being already going already through this crisis of COVID, having our both the economic sector, the social sector, the health sector already very much under pressure during at least 2 years, with a very quite weak budget. We understand our vulnerabilities. We have also our estimates, but we also seek external support to be able to go through this crisis and secure the well development of our country. This effort is definitely as a pressure doubled because we are bordering with the war, and because we understand that any changes in the scene in Ukraine could eventually generate a second inflow. So we also have to stay ready for that, because we will leave no one behind the war. Moldova will continue to open its borders for the refugees.
こちらウクライナの隣国であるモルドバの北側の端に来てるんですけれども、向こう側、川の向こうに見えるのがですね、未承認国家、独立をもう謳っている沿ドニエストル共和国です。少し高い建物、住居ですかね、もう見えます。意外にもちょっと発展しているエリアもあるようです。
丸い。
今こう船で渡ってきてますが、はい、向こう側がトランスニストリア、日本語だと沿ドニエストル共和国側になります。しかし川の向こうにもですね、モルドバ側が管轄しているエリアというのがありましてですね、今向かっているのはそこですね。その沿ドニエストル共和国と自称している場所に囲まれたエリアということです。ちょっと特殊なエリアですね。今この普通に船でフェリーでですね、車とともに渡るというのができるんですが、はい、ちょっとこの後1点注意点が乗る前にありましてですね、船降りた後にですね、基本的に、ロシア軍が駐留しているエリアに囲まれたモルドバの管轄しているモルドバの町なんですけども、そういう事情もあってですね、ロシア軍の、モニターというか、憲兵というか、セキュリティみたいな方たちが、ここを降りた先にいるそうなんで、ちょっとかなり特殊なエリアですね。やっぱあそこに止まりそうだね、方向的に。
2,100 people and another village.
Here,
In this moment we are
Сато Маловатанова, Сато Роки, Шмеч Ворбека Детрасеу, Рыбница Тираспол. Da, practic, noi în anul 1992 am trecut prin momentele acestea care trece acum Ucraina. Când a fost războiul din 92, practic, localitățile acestea au fost primele care au apărat integritatea țării noastre. Populația a ieșit, chiar și fără armament, populația a ieșit de marginea satului pentru a-i opri, a-i menține, de nu le da voie să intre în localitățile noastre. Din păcate, după 30 de ani, noi nu avem o stabilitate, dar, într-adevăr, nu e clar în care direcție să fie, mai ales acum, odată cu începerea războiului din Ucraina. Încă mai tare ne îngrijorează faptul că dacă o să vină în direcția spre Odessa, aici și un cel mai mic militar poate să dai o lămurire că ea să dorească să iei și Transnistria. Și într-adevăr e îngrijorătoare situația că noi în afară de Bacul plutitor, noi nu avem o cale directă cu malul drept. Noi dacă să ne ducem pe malul drept, pe cale terestră, trebuie să trecem prin Transnistria.
So there was a queue for the ferry to go to the other side of Moldova when this invasion happens.
Era șoc, nu știe ce. Era rând la bancomat, că tot ceva s-a afirmat că banca îți vine să scoată banii și lumea tot a intrat într-un fel să scoată careva economisiri care le aveau la bancomat. Era prima zi, vă zic, rând la parom, că tot vreau să plece. După aceasta am avut o întrevedere, chiar a fost viceprim-ministru în teritoriu, ne-a dat niște asigurări că situația până ce la control nu se vede o primejde până ce pentru teritoriul dat și s-au mai liniștit un pic spiritele la...
モルドバ南部のコムラトという町に来ました。市庁舎の前にですね、巨大なレーニン像が置いてあります。いろいろな場所で撤去が進んでいるんですけれども、この町では市民の要望で、この像を維持していくということのようです。レーニン像はさすがに
That's why we don't want to.
これ普通にこう街歩いててもこれロシアのいわゆるキリル文字がすごいありますね。看板でも多分あそこの看板とかもそうだし、ほとんどがやっぱりそういうエリアなんだなっていう。
Ну, лично я считаю то, что и Россия, и Украина в первую очередь это братские народы, потому что, ну, испокон веков это все было у нас, и во времена СССР это все продолжалось. То есть я считаю то, что братским народам нужно помогать, и во всех братских народах бывают все-таки разногласия, и это все заканчивается когда-нибудь миром.
Они сегодня, пацаны, попали в такой стрём. Я не хочу сказать, что американцы. Не американцы там делают. Американцы там туда-сюда. Это президента Украины используют как кумскати. Как надо. Надо это, он это говорит, надо то. Там делает совсем другая компания.
Что американцы виноваты в этой войне?
Не, они инициаторы. Им надо старые продукты, старый товар сбыть и приобрести новый. Нет, русские не провоцировали, они надоели. А украинцы, не украинцы, это американцы подшепывали. Откуда сегодня финансы, откуда оружие идет сегодня?
100% мы поддерживаем только Россию. Пусть Америка дает сколько хочет, но Россия все равно победит.
We will have to show our passports and we will have to explain what is the goal of our trip.
こちらですね、今チェックポイントのところイミグレーションですね、いわゆるで Thank you.
We don't have to lose these tickets.
Okay.
These tickets are with our personal information.
Oh, I found a logo of Japanese car manufacturer, Mitsubishi Motors. Mitsubishi Motors.
Official dealers.
Official dealer. Oh. Wow. こちらですね、沿ドニエストル共和国の中心地に来ました。観光エリアのような場所もあってですね、このようにですね観光パンフレット、1枚のビラなんですけどもあったりします。で横にはですね、昔の戦争の時のことを称える、戦車だったり、ちょっと向こう側にはですね、後ほど見に来ますけどロシアの旗も立っていますね。旧ソ連圏で、しかも今もロシアの影響力が強いところということで、あそこの政府庁舎、彼らが政府と名乗っているビルの前にはレーニン像がドドーンと、茶色いやつですね、あります。中央エリアの公園にあるですね、戦争に関するモニュメントなんですけども、この最初、第二次世界大戦1941年から45年の亡くなった人たちを祀るモニュメント、そしてこれはですねアフガニスタンの戦争に行った兵士たち、亡くなった兵士たちのモニュメントです。そしてこちらはですね、いわゆるですね独立、彼らが言う独立の時の戦争で命を落とした人のための、モニュメントなんです。後ろにですね亡くなった方の名前や、年号などが書いてあります。で最後の一つなんですけども、この、ソルジャー兵士の後ろには何も書いていなくてですね、これはですね一説によると今後起きた戦争の時に使うんじゃないかと言われているそうです。もうすでに準備されているというちょっと不思議な光景です。こちらですね、沿ドニエストル共和国の中心部のティラスポリという町の、その中でも中心部の広場なんですけども、公園なんですけども、そこに国父と言われる、ツブロフさんという人の、銅像がありまして、どうですか、銅像ですか。 さらにですね、旗がいろいろあるんですけど、向こう側にある旗はトランスニストリア、エンドニエストル共和国の旗と、緑が頭はそうですね、あとロシアの旗があります。さらに私の方をもう一度向いてもらってですね、この、中心都市のティラスポリという町の中に3つの旗があります。これがですね、実はこのエンドニエストル共和国を承認している国、ただその国というの3つとも未承認国家。一つが、南オセチア、一つがナゴルノカラバフ、もう一つが、アブハジアという、ジョージアにある2つなど、世界的にも承認されていない国がこのエンドニエストル共和国を承認しているという、かなり異質な形ですね。
Я могу сказать так, что гарнизон российской армии, который здесь находится, он не является чем-то, он набирается из людей местных, и там служат, там офицеры, естественно, они из России, но...
Я не знаю, как граждан, я считаю, что довольно мы знаем историю, те события трезво оценивать, и что победа будет за нами, потому что...
小ネタだけど、この車、こういろんな車ナンバープレートあるんですけども、これもこのエリアのエンドニエストル共和国のナンバープレートがついてるという、他のエリアには走れないらしいですね。ウクライナとモルドバだけ隣だけ入れるということです。かなり特殊なですね。こちらを旧ソ連式のレストランの方ですね。上を見るとソ連の旗がなんというか、これを観光資源にしてるってことなのかな。
Спасибо. И мне тоже, пожалуйста.
400モルドバリュが今334のこの金持ちトランスニストリアというかエンドニエストル共和国の通貨も全く違う。こっちがモルドバの通貨なんですけど、もうちょっと質感も全然違う。ここはバンクオブモルドバとナショナルバンクオブモルドバと書いてますが、これはですね、どこに書いてあるんだろうな。これがスボロフというこのエリアの独立に貢献した人ですね。広場の名前にもなってる。全然とディファレンスもありますね。トランスニストリアンバンクが発行したというのがロシアの言葉、ロシアン・ウクライナン・モルドバ。These beers are drafted here.
Yes.
Oh, new cola. This is not Coca-Cola.
This is Russian cola.
Yes. New cola. ロシアンコーラです。ちょっとビールを買ってみます。わお。
Black caviar.
キャビアがありますが。でもやっぱキャビアはちょっと高い。
They have very good prices.
Sorry. How can I pronounce it?
Kvint. By the way, it is written that it is produced
here
in Moldova, Transnistria. Look. Yes, the first.
Here?
Yes.
And the windows were broken and the cork covers. Yeah. ここがですね、攻撃、爆発があったというエリアですね。ロシア系の、施設だそうです。
So, what do you want to see next?